Welcome to a special night for views. I'm Evan Hightower, and he's your host Hightower!
Welcome to Night Reviews. I'm your host, Joshua Hightower. This is my partner, Evan Hightower.
Hi!
We appreciate you being here with us today. We're doing a special edition of our reviews, and we're going to be doing the Diving Sparrow Knife Works Mako Shark. The Diving Sparrow Knife Works Mako Shark is a knife that you may remember seeing on season 2 of Naked and Afraid with Laura Zera. It went through a 21-day challenge that it was ruggedly abused and came through with flying colors. After that, I was convinced that it was a machete that I'd like to try out.
Nay!
The dimensions on this knife are made of 1095 high carbon steel. It has an 11 3/8 inch cutting edge. It has a 5-inch handle and 16 3/4 inch overall length. It is a 3/16 full tang design. It has an incredibly comfortable contoured handle that fits perfectly into the hand and gives you some really accurate control and very safe control over it. For the categories that we're going to do on this, obviously chopping is going to be a very large, the heaviest weighted category. We are going to do batoning on it, and then we're going to do cutting. We'll have a design category that we go over to the design a little bit more, and then we're going to have an OP choice, which means the original poster choice. We're going to go ahead and get the chopping. As you can see, that's a pretty good thick piece. So, through 3 demonstrations, we've seen it chop down some very, very thick stuff. Very impressed with it. Blade integrity, it's staying sharp. Doing very, very well with that. I'm very pleased with it. What I found is that, as you can see the design of it, which we'll go into in just a couple of minutes, it's designed to be weight forward, which means that it gives you more power in your power cuts when you're chopping, and you can feel it when you're swinging. You can feel that weight going forward and making very sound hard cuts. I don't want to skip over myself too much, but one of the things that I found that I really enjoy about it is that even though it's a weight forward design knife, it's not off balance. So what we found is that while batoning, when you find that sweet spot, which is right in here, where that curve gives you the best angle to go down to the wood, it batons beautifully. As I said, it's got a very nice convex grind on it, which allows it to chop and baton extremely well. So for batoning, we're gonna give it a 10 out of a 10, and I'm very impressed with it. Next category that we're gonna go into, we're bridging the abilities of machetes by going into cutting. And this has a really cool section of the blade that has got a very thin convex grind on it, which I believe will allow for whittling very well. So it's obviously able to whittle very well. You want to be able to create tent stakes for your shelter. Is your machete agile enough to do that? Yes. So as you can see, it does quite well with the feather sticking. I'm actually pretty impressed with that. So what you're seeing is some curls, some thick pieces, all the gamut of feather sticking that you'd want to do on a knife. And we did that with the fat heart portion of the knife. So, surprisingly, I found that the feather sticking ability on this in both the whittling section that I want to call it, I'd call it maybe, we can call that zone 1, the whittling section, and zone 2, the chopping section, both of those feather stick really, really well. So what we found on this knife in zone 1, the whittling section, does an amazing job with cutting and with feather sticking, which I was a little surprised by, to be quite honest with you. It's shown really well in that aspect. And then in zone 2, the chopping section, it cut really well again. And then amazingly, especially when you do the pull method on feather sticking, it did amazing. I am absolutely impressed with how well it cuts. And not because it cuts well. We all know that Abe can create amazing cutting knives, but because it has the awesome ability to chop down 5-inch thick trees and then go straight into whittling and feather sticking without losing a beat. Very impressed with it on cutting. We're gonna give this a 10 out of 10 on cutting. The next thing that I want to go over with this knife is just a very, very quick section called blade geometry. Blade geometry means how well is this knife, this machete, designed. Obviously, it's designed to be a forward chopping, a weight forward knife. Weight forward means that the heaviest part is proportioned out so that when you are throwing to chop, it gives you very heavy cuts.
Good.
Now, what I found about this on the blade geometry is that yes, it is a weight forward design, but it also has substantial enough length and thickness that the weight is evenly distributed even from the tip down to the handle, and which that allows that with that weight forward, it allows you to have great control over your chops, and then in turn allows you to have great control over your whittling. On the blade geometry, it's getting a 10 out of 10. And I want to have a category that gives 5 extra credit points. Here we go. So on category number 5, which is the OP choice, that's my choice. I picked something that I wanted to be able to do that's outside of the normal realm, and for me, is ferro rod. So for that, I'm pretty impressed. I'm gonna give it 4 of the possible 5 points for the extra credit. This, you can tell, a lot of effort went into designing this knife. A lot of effort went into handcrafting this knife. A lot of effort went into producing it. I'm super impressed. It scored a perfect 40 of 40 for the Machete classification, and it scored an extra 3 points on the My Choice Award. You could go into the woods with just this and do absolutely well with it and not have another knife. If you took care of this, you would be perfect. And I have not sharpened this. I've used it quite a bit. I have not sharpened it. And I'm actually the second owner of it. So I'm incredibly impressed with how well it dealt with abuse, chopping, cutting, feather sticking, everything. Very, very impressed. So guys, we really appreciate you being here for this Machete bushcraft tool review. Remember, next week we're doing the Camillus Lestrade Arctic. Go to Knife Reviews on Facebook and on YouTube. Like and subscribe. You'll be able to watch all of our videos on all the knives that we've done so far. If you have any suggestions on a knife or machete that you would like to see us review, leave us a comment, send us a message on Facebook. Once again, you can reach us on Facebook and on YouTube as Knife Reviews. Our email address is knives@knifereviews.us. Stay safe and God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. God bless.